Manumabe Sachiputramantasarupam Rupamatasya Rajamurupurim Maturim Vastavatim Radha Kundamagirivaramho Radhika Madhavas Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tam Natasmi Vandeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Rupalu Pravaram Rajasasikam Pranayam Tam Napanam Shri Guru Charanam Vande Ramana Peshchaya Bhutale Rupalu Bhaktivedanta Charanamurti Narayana Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Rup Sanatan Bhaktivedanta Shri Jiv Gopal Bhaktadasa Raghunath Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare. First of all, I offer my Shastanga Dandavata Pranams and lotus feet of our spiritual masters. Lord Vishnu Vishnupad Shiva Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev. Lord Vishnu Vishnupad Shiva Bhaktivedanta Mam Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev. The entire Banakali Guru Varga, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, to all the descendants and president. So yesterday was the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, the fountainhead of this modern day preaching of Mahaprabhu's mission. Also, a few days back was the disappearance day of Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, who was the first sannyasi disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And also, a couple of days back was the appearance of Sri Krishna Keshav Prabhu, another disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So we were discussing about the glories of Srila Prabhupada. It would also be nice if we can remember them as well, because it was their tithis. Just because we see there are so many associates of Prabhupada, and throughout the year they are either appearing or disappearing. So we'll read first about Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, and then we'll read about Krishna Keshav Prabhu. Maybe many of you have had the darshan of Krishna Keshav Prabhu. No, you had Maharaj's darshan. Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he left this world I think in 98, I think. 1998 he left. He stayed for many years, Krishna Keshav Prabhu. He joined the temple when he was only 9 or 10 years old. 9 years old he joined the temple. So first we'll read about Srila Tirtha Maharaj. Did Krishna Keshav Prabhu disappear? He joined when he was a small boy, when he was only 8 or 9 years old. It's there. It's how he joined the temple is there. Shri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari. He remained Brahmachari his entire life. So he passed away, he was maybe more than 90 years old.
He joined the mountain, and his father came to take him out of the mountain, and his father met Prabhupada, and he took an interest in Prabhupada, went back home, changed his life and everything.
So his whole family took initiation from Prabhupada, Krishna Keshav Prabhu. So Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he was very influential on Srila Swami Prabhupada's life as well. Because Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he once went to the house of Gaur Mohan De, the father of Srila Prabhupada in Calcutta. At that time, when he was dressed as a sannyasi, the father of Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Mohan De, thought he was from the Ramakrishna mission, which is like a Mayavadi mission. So Gaur Mohan De, he actually started shouting at Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, thinking he was like a Mayavadi sannyasi. But Tirtha Maharaj, he didn't say anything back. He could have said that actually I am not from Ramakrishna mission, I am from the Gaudiya Math, disciple of Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati Thakur. But he didn't say anything. He just kept shouting at him. Tirtha Maharaj, he remained very silent. And then when Swami Maharaj returned home, he saw that this sannyasi from the Gaudiya Math is here, and his father was shouting at him. So then he pacified his father. And then Tirtha Maharaj, he spoke why he came to their house. What was the mission he was preaching? Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So then that had a very lasting impression on Srila Prabhupada's life. He never forgot. He thought just see such an ideal Vaishnava, he's so tolerant. So since then his faith towards Prabhupada's mission, his spiritual master's mission increased more and more. So he's a very elevated sannyasi, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. After Prabhupada's disappearance, many of Prabhupada's disciples even wanted him to be the Acharya, because he was the senior most. He was actually the disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself. His father was also a disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. His father was called Radha Govinda Das Babaji, his father, and his mother was also a disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So a very illustrious family. But Maharaj, he the last few years of his life, he was like he was doing solitary bhajan. Here, like it is written, Pujya Bhakti Maharaj explains that after joining the temple, Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj, he became the headmaster of the Thakur Bhaktivinoda Institute, and he also taught there. So he was a teacher there. Now, Vaman Goswami Maharaj, in one letter, he has even written that my guru in the Thakur Bhaktivinoda Institute was Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj. So many students, they studied under him. Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj and Bhakti Keval Aulami Maharaj, who was the elder brother of Srila Param Gurudev. He was also a headmaster in this school. So Bhaktivinoda Institute, he was a teacher there. As the institute expanded and grew famous, it increased, then it gave him the liberty to start writing for Srila Prabhupada. So he also wrote many articles for Srila Prabhupada. Many he wrote. And at that time, Bhaktivinoda Institute was like a revolutionary school. Even Muslims would be studying in that school. And that time, even Muslims, they had to follow Ekadashi, they had to follow all these tithis, vratas. Once some Muslim parents, they became very upset. They said education is free, it should be for all. Education should not be biased. But it seems your education is very biased. You're only favoring Hindus and not us Muslims. Because you're only following the vratas of the Hindu calendar, why can't you follow the vratas that we are following? No, because even Muslims also follow some vrata for 1 month called Ramzan. They follow something. So then they took Chaitanya to court. They said, filing a court case against you. How can this be education? Then Param Gurudev said, all right, we'll go to court. And there the judge, he ruled in favor of Chaitanya Math. So then Param Gurudev, he told the parents, if you don't like your children studying here, then you can leave. So then their parents were forced to make their children study there and also follow all these different brothers. So Tirtha Maharaj, he was there. In 1932, Srila Prabhupada desired to spread the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all around the world, so that the Western world would not be bereft of this knowledge. He approached Rabindranath Tagore to discuss about this preaching and where he should send his preachers first. So Prabhupada, we know that he wanted Gauravani to go all around the world. So first he approached Rabindranath Tagore. So you know who Rabindranath Tagore is now? He got a Nobel Prize. He had written one poem called Gitanjali, which was like a Bengali translation of the Bhagavad Gita. So he got a Nobel Peace Prize for that also. I think it's a Nobel Literary Prize. So he was very famous during his time. So Prabhupada, he asked Tagore that I wish to send some preachers on my behalf to go and preach in West. So which countries should you think I should send them to? So he said, if you send them to England, then in England you won't be respected so much, because England is ruling over India. So even if you go there, they might not respect you so much. But if you go to Germany, then there they might give you whatever you need, the respect and adoration you needed. But then Prabhupada said, if that's the case, I'll send my preachers first to England. He said, I'll send them to the country first where they're not actually supported first. So he sent them there, and then to other countries also. So then, Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj, he went with one Maharaj and Samvidananda Prabhu, who was the younger brother of Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj. So they both went there to that country and they preached there so much. So this way, Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj, he would have the students in the Gurukul learn shlokas. And when he would have them learn shlokas, he would have them learn it in a very nice way. Like he would say, okay, recite one shloka. And one boy, he would recite one shloka. And he would say, Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmritamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So it ends with an H. N-A-M-A-H. Namaha. So then he would have another student recite the next shloka with the alphabet H. And then he would recite another shloka. And then they would recite another shloka with the letter with which the previous shloka ended. And this way they would go on learning shlokas. So he had a very good influence on all the students there. So in this way, Srila Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj, when he was with Bhaktivinoda Thakur requested him to address the assembly during the first Vishwa Vaishnav Rajya Sabha held at Mayapur. So we know that there is this present day World Vaishnava Association, which is like an offshoot of this Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya Sabha. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he desired that all the Vaishnavas, they be in one family. be under one shelter. So that time it was called Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya Sabha. Previously even Jiva Goswami had actually established this. So there Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he instructed Tirtha Maharaj to speak. At that time he spoke. And at that time the deities were installed. The deities we see now in Mayapur, this Mahaprabhu, Gaur Vishnu Priya, Lakshmi Priya, Panchatattva, Radha Madhav, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he installed them there in 1892. And then he told Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, from this very place, in the future, the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be broadcast all over the world. At that time, preaching in the West was not even conceived. Nevertheless, it came to pass in 1932 when he himself went to the West to fulfill that prophecy. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had proclaimed that from here, Mahaprabhu's mission will be spread everywhere. And it came to pass. How? Tirtha Maharaj himself, 40 years later, he went and he started preaching in the West. So this is like, so Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, he translated the Bhagavad Gita into English based on the commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami. So you can get this Gita also. If you go to any of the old Gaudiya Maths, there they still have this Gita in English. Tirtha Maharaj, he translated into English. I remember one devotee, maybe you know him, Singhania. Singhania, once I went to see him in Devananda Gaudiya Math. The Singhania, he showed me one Gita of Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj. And in that Gita, Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj, he had signed it. He had signed it and he had given it to Singhania, saying, read this book. A very beautiful book. And he showed me this Gita of Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj. Very scholarly book, scholarly translation. So in his advanced stage, he could not travel to preach anymore, so he would daily hear verses of one chapter of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavatam. So every day he would listen to one chapter of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavatam just before he left. In fact, like 1 month before he left, he would call all the brahmacharis in the temple, one by one. He would call them and he would give them so many nice instructions on how to do bhajan. Every brahmachari for 1 month, as many devotees as there were, regardless of whichever math they were affiliated to, regardless of whichever institution they were affiliated to, for 1 month before he left, they all came to him and he spoke very nice instructions to them. And then, as one brahmachari was reading the Chaitanya Bhagavat, while he was listening to it, he left his body on this tithi. So here, this is just a short biography. So here, there's another like larger biography here.
Rabindranath Tagore, when Srila Prabhupada asked him how they can preach in European countries and what they should do, then he said, it will only be successful if you go yourself, or someone like Prabhupada said, okay, I'll send someone who's just as powerful.
Yeah. So Rabindranath Tagore, he told him that you yourself must go there. If you yourself go, then the preaching will be successful in the West. I think even Prabhupada wanted to go, I think. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. He had that idea that he would have eventually gone. But then he said, I'll send my preachers in my stead. They will also be very powerful, as much as I am. And we see that prophecy also came to pass. No, he sent many of his preachers, and Swami Prabhupada also went there, preached everywhere. In fact, Prabhupada, he wanted to stay for 10-15 years more, longer. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. But then he said, no, I've received the order. I cannot stay here. I have to go to another place to preach. He said, I have another place that I have to go and preach. So he left this world very prematurely.
He said, I'll send someone that's just as powerful as you. And wasn't Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj chosen? And Rabindranath said, no, he's too handsome. He's too handsome. The European ladies will kill him.
They wanted to send Giri Brahmachari. That time, Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj's name was Giri Das. So they said, we'll send Giri Brahmachari. But then, I think Rabindranath Tagore and the others, they said, oh, he's a very handsome young man. If he goes there, Western ladies get attracted to him. They might steal him away. So he sent someone who's a little more older. So then they sent Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj, a little more older. That's what Maharaj is saying. So here it said that Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Maharaj's father, he was called Rajnikant Basu. So he was from a village in Noakhali, East Bengal. So East Bengal is called Bangladesh. So East Bengal is a very pious place because Mahaprabhu, he went and he preached there. If you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Leela, Mahaprabhu, he spent so many days preaching there in East Bengal. He spent many days there. And many devotees, so many disciples of Prabhupada, they came from East Bengal. Param Gurudev, Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu, Bhakti Dait Madan Maharaj, Bhakti Hriday Ban Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Shrut Siddhanti Maharaj, Bhakti Pradeep Tirth Maharaj, Bhakti Vilas Tirth Maharaj. So many disciples, most of his disciples came from here, from Bangladesh. So he was also from here. So here, at the end of his life, Rajnikant Basu, that is the father of Bhakti Pradeep Tirth Maharaj, he accepted the dress of a Babaji from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So Saraswati Thakur gave him Babaji Vesh at that time. So we see Babaji Vesh is also present here in our Gaudiya Math also. It's not that it's not present. So he gave him Babaji Vesh, and then he retired and he was doing bhajan in Mayapur. So then his son was Jagadish Basu, who later became Bhakti Pradeep Tirth Maharaj. So after graduating from Calcutta University, he lived in Calcutta as a schoolmaster. On 25th March 1910, Gaur Jayanti, that is Gaur Purnima, he visited Mayapur with his friend Vaikunthanath Ghoshal Shastri Vachaspati, who was a Pandit of the Maharaj of Tripura, who was a follower of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So this Maharaj of Tripura, he was a very pious person. In fact, he even requested Prabhupada to teach his own son, this Tripura king. He said, please come and teach my son. And when Prabhupada started teaching this boy became very detached from this material world. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada would speak so much Tattva Siddhanta to this boy, that this boy gradually, he didn't even want to be a king, he didn't want to be a prince, he didn't want this kingdom, nothing. So then this boy's mother, she told her husband that this boy, if he becomes a renunciant, then who will look after our kingdom? Who will offer oblations to us, Pindadan? So do something, or else I will take poison and I will die. So then this king of Tripura, he requested Prabhupada that, oh, this boy, he's becoming very detached. So kindly you must refrain from teaching him any longer. So then, but he said, I'll continue giving you money, some pension. Monthly, I'll continue giving money. Prabhupada said, no, I don't want your money, I don't want anything. That king had a huge library, and Prabhupada had read most of the books there. So his objective was also fulfilled. And then he returned to Mayapur. So that king was a very good friend of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he was a well-wisher of Prabhupada, that king. So here, there at the Yoga Peeth, Jagadish saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur for the first time lecturing in the presence of Siddhanta Saraswati and other devotees. So there, Bhakti Pradeep Tirth Maharaj, he was speaking Harikatha there. No, he saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaking Harikatha. So upon being introduced by Vaikuntha Babu, Jagadish offered Dandot Pranams at the lotus feet of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he started weeping. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw this young man offering him Dandot Pranams, weeping very sincerely, he said, you are an educated and respectable person. If you accept the responsibility of preaching on Lord Chaitanya's behalf, many people will be attracted to his message. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is encouraging him, why don't you preach? You're educated, you know, you do this, that, you should preach. So then asked by Bhaktivinoda Thakur to speak Harikatha, then Jagadish discoursed on Brahmacharya, particularly the incomparable current manifestation of Brahmacharya in the personage of Sri Siddhanta Saraswati. So he was a householder himself, Jagadish Bose. But he was glorifying this Brahmacharya of Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. It was a Naishtik Brahmachari. And what is the meaning of being a Brahmachari? Not just abstaining from like sense enjoyment. It means your whole life is centered around the service of Sri Radha and Krishna. This is real Brahmacharya. No. This is real Brahmacharya. Like sometimes Prabhupada, he would encourage his Grihastha disciples. Prabhupada, he would encourage them and he would say, oh, if you can still be an ideal Grihastha in spite of having a very beautiful wife, then you're also a Brahmachari. He said. So many letters like that. Once I remember Prabhupada, he wrote a letter to Hansadutta. He had encouraged him this way. That, oh, In spite of having a beautiful wife, still you're detached, it means you're an ideal brahmachari, grihastha brahmachari. So this way he was also saying that Prabhupada, he was an ideal brahmachari. You know, or else just being a brahmachari in itself, how is it helpful? Even Mayavadis are brahmacharis. Sometimes people who are very diseased, who are very sick, they cannot enjoy, so they are also brahmacharis. But then how is it favorable? Like we see when Mahaprabhu was doing kirtan in Shiva Sangam, there was one brahmachari. He was only drinking milk. That was his vrata. But then Mahaprabhu, was he happy with him? He was thinking, just by drinking milk and being a brahmachari, how are you actively participating in kirtan? You are not doing anything. Then what is the use of a brahmachari? So here, Prabhupada, he was an ideal brahmachari. So inspired from within, Jagadish also declared that from this place of Mayapur, which represents the limb of self-surrender, Atmanivedan, Mahaprabhu's prophecy would be spread all around the world. So that same afternoon, Siddhant Saraswati delivered Harikatha to Jagadish for several hours and advised him to ask permission from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to meet Gaur Kishore Das Babaji at Kulia. So Prabhupada, he spoke Harikatha to this person, teacher, and he told him, go and meet Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He's my spiritual master. Go to Navati, because they were staying in Mayapur, no? So go across the Ganga and meet Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He's staying there, do bhajan. He's doing bhajan. So early the next morning, Jagadish went to Kulia, where he offered Dandavat Pranams and a watermelon to Babaji Maharaj. So he brought a watermelon. Although Babaji Maharaj refused anything brought by outsiders, no, Babaji Maharaj was doing bhajan in his that bathroom, in that public latrine. He would not even open the door for others. But when he came here, Jagadish, then Babaji Maharaj asked him, who are you? What did he say? He said, I am a servant of Varshabhanavi Devi Daitadas. So then Babaji Maharaj's heart melted, because he had so much affection and love for these followers of Prabhupada. So then he opened the door for him and okay, come inside. So there he bought this watermelon and he offered this to Babaji Maharaj. Although Babaji Maharaj refused to accept anything brought by outsiders, when he understood that Jagadish was sent by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Saraswati Thakur, he graciously accepted this presentation. So when he offered this watermelon, he took it. He said, all right, sit here. After speaking to Jagadish for some time, he told him to chant one kirtan from Narottam Das Thakur's Prarthana. And he sang the kirtan, Gauranga Polite Habe Pulaka Sharira. So Babaji Maharaj told him, oh, you sing one kirtan, Narottam Thakur's. Then he sang Gauranga Polite Habe. Then Babaji Maharaj's heart melted on listening to this kirtan. So then Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he instructed Jagadish to have full faith in Guru and Vaishnavas, to become as humble as a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree, to avoid the association of dishonest persons, and to continuously chant the holy names of Sri Radha and Krishna. So see what Babaji Maharaj is telling him. Have full faith in Guru and Vaishnavas. Be as humble as a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, and avoid the association of dishonest people. And in this way, continuously chant Harinam. So when Jagadish said that he had not yet been initiated, Babaji Maharaj said that since Mayapur is the place of self-surrender, Jagadish had already surrendered to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he was saying that I am not yet initiated by like a bona fide Sadguru like that. So then Babaji Maharaj said, no harm. You are staying in Mayapur. No, among the 9 limbs of Bhakti, which limb of Bhakti does Mayapur signify? It signifies Atmanivedan, self-surrender. So he said, you stay there, you surrender yourself, and Mahaprabhu will inspire you. So what was he indirectly saying? He's saying you've already received the grace of a bona fide Guru. Who was he? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is your Guru. So he said, go. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is waiting for you now. Go immediately. Babaji Maharaj told him, go and take initiation from him. Don't delay. Because Babaji Maharaj's Siksha Guru was Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Sometimes Babaji Maharaj, even when the Ganga was flowing so rapidly, even when it was impossible to cross the Ganga, somehow some boy would come, hold his hand and take him across the Ganga. And there the whole night he would listen to Bhaktivinoda Thakur speak Harikatha. So he was his beloved Siksha Guru. Once even the daughter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his wife, Bhagavati Devi, and Kadambini Devi, the daughter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they came to see Kaurikshvara's Babaji Maharaj. Babaji Maharaj said, what are you doing here? Why are you wasting your time coming and seeing me? You have an eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in your house. And why are you coming and seeing me? Go there and serve him. Babaji Maharaj just sent them back. They had so much love for Bhaktivinoda Thakur, even for Prabhupada. Once one person, he came and told Babaji Maharaj, I want to listen to you speak Harikatha. Prabhupada is only speaking so much Tattva Siddhanta. He doesn't speak any Raskatha. I want to listen to you. Because he's only speaking Tattva Siddhanta. No, Prabhupada was very straightforward. He would say, first make your heart free of some anarthas at least, and then listen to this Harikatha. This person, when he spoke this, Babaji Maharaj said, on one side you are criticizing one Vaishnava, and on another side you are glorifying another Vaishnava. Is this proper etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette? It would be better if you were criticizing both Vaishnavas, he said, rather than criticizing one and praising another. This is not proper, he said. Go and beg forgiveness from Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. Fall at his feet, he said. So then he blessed Jagadish to take sannyas and preach the name of Mahaprabhu throughout the planet. Although at that time there was no indication of sannyas in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So at that time, Babaji Maharaj, he told Bhakti Pradip Tirth Maharaj, you must take sannyas and preach. So that time no one had even taken sannyas. Even Prabhupada had not taken sannyas then. Because which year did Prabhupada take sannyas? He took sannyas in 1980. And Babaji Maharaj, he disappeared in 1915. So 4 years after his disappearance, Prabhupada took sannyas. But still Babaji Maharaj, he told him that you take sannyas and you preach. And that time, Bhakti Pradip Tirth Maharaj, then he touched Babaji Maharaj's lotus feet and he held it to his head. Usually, if anyone dared to do so, Babaji Maharaj would angrily chastise that person. He would say, you'll be destroyed in your life. If anyone would try touching his feet, so I curse you that you'll be destroyed in your life. Why did you touch my feet? But when he touched his feet, Tirth Maharaj and Babaji Maharaj didn't say anything. He just blessed him. So following Srila Babaji Maharaj's advice, Jagadish, he returned to Mayapur. At midday, on the 5th day after Gaur Jayanti, means on the Panchami, he shaved his head. He took a bath in the Ganga. He and 3 other devotees were given the Gayatri mantras by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Godrum Dweep. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was doing his bhajan in Godrum. Godrum, it signifies Kirtanakya Bhakti. It signifies the lip of Kirtan. So there, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was doing his Kirtan, he initiated them. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also, his servant also gave Bhaktivinoda Thakur's remnants to him, saying here, this is Guru Maharaj's remnants. That same afternoon, the Thakur read from Sikshastak and then he spoke it to all the devotees. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he asked his sevak Krishnadas Babaji to speak the instructions that Mahaprabhu gave to Sanatana Goswami in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Krishnadas Babaji, he was the servant of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If you go to Godrum, you can see there is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Samadhi, and right next to his Samadhi is also Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj's Samadhi. Do you remember Maharaj? Godrum? No, they're side by side, both their Samadhis. So here, he had him speak Harikatha. He also had him give his remnants. Because the remnants of a Vaishnava are so powerful. But at the same time, we see from one example, if one is not careful, if he is taking the remnants of a Vaishnava, if he doesn't have the proper mood, he may also become very proud. No.
On the other side of the mandir is the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Gorkishore. Just opposite of Krishnadas Babaji.
Like if you go along, the temple is here, if you go along the temple, on the left. So once Prabhupada, he was in Calcutta, and there, one person, he gave him some water or some juice in a glass made of gold. So then, Prabhupada, he took that glass, he just touched it to his lips. Maybe drank a little of that water, and he gave it to one devotee. Just any devotee who said, he gave it to him. So then that devotee became very proud. And he started saying, oh, Prabhupada has given me his remnants. This, that. Then he started criticizing the other devotees, saying, oh, you are nothing. look at me, he's giving me this golden glass of water, this, that. So if one is not careful, we may become proud also. But here, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he offered his pranams to his remnants and he honored them very respectfully. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he spent much of his time at Sananda Sukada Kunj, serving Bhaktivinoda Thakur, on whose order he and Krishnadas Babaji would perform Sankirtan every morning all around Godrum. So they would go all around Godrum Deep doing Nagar Sankirtan, the two of them. And they would chant this Kirtan, Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Patiyachi Nam Hata Jivera Kara. So they would go everywhere singing all these Kirtans that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had written, all around Godrum. This way, they would also sing Udi Lovaruna, Purava Bhage, Jeev Jago, all these Kirtans. Every afternoon from about 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Bhaktivinoda Thakur would speak on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So every day for 3 hours he would speak on Chaitanya Charitamrita in his Bhajan Kuti. And then they would do this Kirtan. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. And when they would do Kirtan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself would dance and he would also sing along with them. At that time, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj noted that Bhaktivinoda Thakur never allowed ordinary worldly topics to be discussed at Sananda Sukada Kunj, immediately prohibiting anyone who started speaking like that, stressing repeatedly that the dharma for Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. So if anyone would engage in Prajalpa there, Bhaktivinoda Thakur immediately would chastise that person. Hey, what are you doing? Don't speak Prajalpa. Do Kirtan. And they would do Kirtan then. In this way, while he would visit Godrum, Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur would also meet him time to time. Because Prabhupada, he would also come from Mayapur. We must know that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he told Prabhupada that you must serve the deities in Mayapur while I stay here at Godrum. So Prabhupada from Mayapur, he would come to see him from time to time in Godrum. In this way. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he instructed Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and other disciples to follow Siddhanta Saraswati. He often told Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj that Gaur Sundar had himself sent Siddhanta Saraswati to this world with two objectives: to introduce Daivi Varnashram Dharma and to propagate the pure chanting of the holy names by establishing a society of pure devotees. So yesterday we heard this in Harikatha also. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave 4 instructions to Prabhupada. First one was that you establish this Gauriya Math, where all the devotees who come meet together, do Kirtan. Second was you take sannyas, establish this Daivi Varnashram Dharma. Third, you publish books. And fourth, you inspire everyone to chant Harinam, you start parikrama, everything. Publication of scriptures. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur often read to Jagadish his own teachings on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrit. So he would have him sit next to him and he would speak from all these books, like Chaitanya Shikshamrit, Jaiva Dharma, and he would explain everything to him in this way. So one day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sent Jagadish Prabhu and Krishnadas Babaji to Kulia for darshan of Srila Gaur Kishoredas Babaji Maharaj. Babaji Maharaj was pleased to learn that Jagadish had been initiated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he directed him to also regularly associate with and serve Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, whom Babaji Maharaj considered and referred to as his Guru. So you see here, Babaji Maharaj was so happy that he was initiated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he told him, all right, now you go and you serve Siddhanta Saraswati also. He is even my Guru, Gaur Kishoredas Babaji Maharaj would say. So as did Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Babaji Maharaj, he praised Siddhanta Saraswati, particularly for his strictness in giving up the Asat Sangha of pseudo Vaishnavas and others. So that time there were many Apasampradayas. There were many Babajis associating with women illicitly, doing many things. So Prabhupada, he was very strict in his dealings with them. Very strict. So therefore Babaji was very impressed with him, with that quality of this. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur returned to Calcutta, Jagadish Prabhu accompanied him. After some days, the Thakur ordered Siddhanta Saraswati to perform the Upanayana Sanskar and give further mantras to Jagadish and the other disciples of his. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he told Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you perform this Brahman thread giving ceremony to them. And you also give them some mantras that I have not given. So then Saraswati Thakur, he gave them the Brahma Gayatri, Guru Mantra, Guru Gayatri, Gaur Mantra and Gaur Gayatri. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur had already given him this Kama Gayatri and Gopal Mantra. He hadn't given them the other mantras. The other mantras Saraswati Thakur gave them. So on that day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he instructed Jagadish on various topics. And he told him that you must accept Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as your Siksha Guru. You must accept Varshabhanavi Devi Daitadas as a Siksha Guru. Because in the future I will not be there. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying, I won't be here to guide you in the future. Because he was saying, I'll leave this world in some time. So when I'm not here, you take guidance from him. He told him. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur repeatedly told Jagadish to follow Siddhanta Saraswati, whom he said would eventually perform wonderful activities. So later Siddhanta Saraswati gave Jagadish Prabhu sannyas. And then he gave him this title Bhakti Pradeep. And then after completing the Bhakti Shastri course, which Prabhupada himself had introduced, Jagadish Prabhu earned the title Vidya Vinod Bhakti Shastri Sampradaya Vaibhav Acharya. So Prabhupada gave him this title. Since you're so scholarly, you're giving such wonderful explanations of the Shastras, I'm giving you this title Vidya Vinod Bhakti Shastri Sampradaya Vaibhav Acharya. So then, after his wife died, because Jagadish Prabhu was a householder, Bhaktivedanta Tirtha Maharaj was a Grihastha. Normally we see that all these Grihasthas, their wives are always dying very quickly. Their wives die very quickly, so that their paths are wide open. So many of them. You see, like even Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also, his wife died very quickly. Bhakti Vivek Bharati Maharaj, his wife died very quickly. So he had the same thing here also. Krishna's taking them away, saying, you do bhajan, go and join, taking their wives away quickly. So this way he gave up all material engagements and completely dedicated himself in devotional activities to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So on 1st November 1920, at Sri Chaitanya Mutt, he was ordained as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's first sannyas disciple with the name Tridandi Swami Srimad Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj. And on the next day, he was sent to preach in East Bengal. After Prabhupada gave sannyas, immediately the next day he sent him preaching. And then the following year, Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj preached mostly in East Bengal, Odisha, Calcutta, and the districts of Vardhaman and Midnapur. So when he was preaching in one place, there was an English newspaper called The Express. So this Express, when they saw him preaching, they were so impressed by him that they even wrote an article in the newspaper glorifying him. An English newspaper, In that newspaper they have said, Swamiji has sacrificed all mundane pleasure for the propagation of Sri Krishna's religion of the Srimad Bhagavatam as revealed to us by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his daily discourses, he is speaking so wonderfully on the Bhagavatam, on all the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta and other branches of Hindu religion and philosophy. Coupled with his great learning, his deep bhakti has charmed all who have had the good fortune to hear him once. His life and his character truly depict what Krishna Chaitanya wanted his followers to be. So you see here, when they're seeing the sannyasi, they're so inspired, awed by him, saying he's an ideal follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who are prejudiced against Vaishnavism and who have not understood what Prema Bhakti is, then they will also be impressed by this great Swamiji, by listening to him. So in this way they glorified him so much. So in 1933, Tirtha Maharaj was sent with Srimad Ban Maharaj and Samvidananda Prabhu to begin the mission in Europe in 1933. So then he also wrote many articles in English. He also translated the Gita and other scriptures. So Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj was instrumental in attracting so many people to the Gaudiya Math. So many. Like Bhakti Sarvasya Giri Maharaj, Bhakti Vaibhav Sagar Maharaj, Sundarananda Prabhu, Anantavasudev Prabhu, Bhakti Sudhakar Prabhu, Jaduvar Prabhu, and so many. See, Bhakti Sudhakar Prabhu was a Grihastha. And whatever money he would have, he would give everything away to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would say, you're giving everything away to me, but you have wife and children. Who will look after them if you're giving everything away to me? So then what would Prabhupada do? He would keep some of that money and he would give it to one brahmachari, saying, here, you keep this money, and whenever the family needs anything, you must look after their expenses. And Prabhupada made that arrangement that this brahmachari would look after that family. So they all came through Tirth Maharaj's preaching. He gave himself fully to devotees placed under his care. And then this way he inspired so many. Although Bhakti Pradeep Tirth Maharaj had first been instructed and initiated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he always maintained the position of being a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and was respected as the most senior among them. So you see here, although he was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disciple, he was like a godbrother of Saraswati Thakur. He was his own godbrother, but still he never thought of himself as being his godbrother. Rather, he only thought of himself as being the disciple of Siddhanta Saraswati. So this was his. I will just do one short reading of Krishna Keshav Prabhu's life, because like only 2 days back was his appearance day. So we read here. It says here that you can also mention this. There's a short description given here about Krishna Keshav Prabhu. So Krishna Keshav Prabhu, when he was about 11 years old, he went with a group of people from his village to have a darshan of Sri Navadvip Dham. There he met Srila Prabhupada. And then he decided to stay in Mayapur and join the temple. Although he was only 11 years old, Prabhupada gave him Harinam and Mantra Diksha. Although he was only 11 years old. So he was the youngest child of his father. When word reached his village that he had stayed behind in Mayapur, his father immediately left to Mayapur to bring him back. So he was the youngest son of his father. His father was thinking, my son has left. So that time Navadvip Dham Parikrama was underway with thousands of people attending. So then when the in charge of Sri Chaitanya Math was informed that his father had come, he treated him very respectfully and gave him a place to stay. So his father was very angry, saying, where is my son? So he was like everywhere, he was like very angry. So then the in charge of the temple, he respectfully received his father. He said, please come, sit, take some Mahaprasad, and he gave him a place to stay. So that was the first impression. And he was thinking, oh, he's so respectful. So when he was at the temple, his father received darshan of Srila Prabhupada. He was amazed by the behavior and the bold harikatha of the sannyasis and brahmacharis. And he was impressed by the fact that such erudite individuals born of elite families were firmly established in the principle of offering respect to others when expecting none in return. So Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he heard all these people speaking Harikatha, and he saw they were from such good families. And in spite of being of very good families, being very intelligent, they were so humble. They were offering respect to everyone, and then he was so impressed by their behavior. So then he said, I could have never imagined that such a place like this exists, where everyone is only speaking Harikatha. So his father, when he came there, he saw everyone is only speaking Harikatha, only doing Kirtan. So he's thinking, how is such a place even available in Kali Yuga? He thought. No, and even in such a nasty age, Kali Yuga, everyone is only speaking Harikatha to each other. This way he said that here everyone only desires to serve. People have renounced material pleasures to live according to a simple yet elevated philosophy. And thus his heart melted. Then he looked at his son and he said, Keshav. So his son's name was Keshav Chandra. So he said, oh Keshav, my son, you have blessed me by showing me this place. His father embraced him. He was so angry at his son actually that he had left home. But then when he saw the Gaudiya Math in Mayapur, his father embraced him. He said, oh, I'm so happy with you that you showed me such a nice place. You have blessed me by showing me this place. What to speak of accepting it? I had never even heard that this human form of life is meant for worshipping Bhagavan. Now that I have come to know this in my old age, I will perform bhajan for the remainder of my life. I will also take shelter of your Gurudev, so to speak. So he said, I will also take initiation from Prabhupada, he said. If he will mercifully agree to it, he will kindly give me Mantra Diksha as well. So then, he was told, Krishna Keshav Prabhu's father used to eat meat. He used to eat fish. He used to smoke tobacco. So then, they told him, you must give up all these things. You must even give up onions and garlic before accepting Harinam and Diksha. So then they said, how can you give it up? Because you've been smoking tobacco for so many years now, more than 50 years now. How can you just give up everything? It is not possible. So they were saying that Prabhupada will not initiate you because you cannot give up these things. Then Krishna Kesha Prabhu's father, he looked at Prabhupada and he said, I promise from this very instant, I'll give up all these things for the rest of my life. I promise, he said. I'll never smoke anything ever again. I will never eat any of these things. So Prabhupada was so impressed by him, immediately he gave Harinam Diksha. Normally, for a person in the Gaudiya Math,
first, he told Keshava, he said, no, from this day forward, I'll never take it again. He said, no, but if you just take initiation, with emotion, and then later, it'll be a great offense. And so his father said, no. So Keshava was thinking, when can I talk to Prabhupada? And then the other devotees were shaving their heads to get ready for the initiation. So the father automatically shaved his head and sat with those devotees. When Srila Prabhupada saw him there, so enthusiastic,
so he also shaved his head, he just sat there among them. So Prabhupada was very happy with him. He said, all right, you have so much faith in getting initiated, then all right, I'll initiate you as well. So he also got initiated in this way. So in this way, his father, he promised that I will never ever take all these things my entire life. And this way, it so happened that Prabhupada gave his father Mantra Diksha on that very day, just as Maharaj explained now. So then his father told him, Keshav, although I came to bring you back, the opposite has happened. I have offered myself here. My body may go, but I will forever remain here by heart. So he told his son, although I am leaving, still by my heart I am always here with you, he said, with your spiritual master. So from that day forward, his father never ate any of these things. Instead, he spent the rest of his life chanting Harinam, his Diksha mantras, and always engaging himself in activities favorable to bhakti. So then, immediately after Krishna Keshav Brahmachari received Harinam and Diksha from Prabhupada, he began performing various services in the mutt. He especially assisted Prabhupada's cook by cutting many kinds of vegetables and cooking and cleaning pots. So if you look here at this temple right behind, this red temple, this temple of Krishna Balaram Swami, this temple right here, it has one samadhi actually. As soon as you enter the temple, on the right side, you'll see one small samadhi. The samadhi belongs to Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Prabhu, the disciple of Prabhupada. He was actually the cook for Srila Prabhupada. He was from Odisha. He cooked for maybe 7 or 8 years for Prabhupada. Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Prabhu. You can go here, right here, like only 5 minutes from here. As soon as you enter, on the right side, you can see one small samadhi. That's his samadhi. So here, Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he would assist him in cooking for Prabhupada, cutting vegetables, cleaning pots, and everything. So one day, while Prabhupada and his preaching party were coming from Mumbai to Kolkata, his cook became very worried that he would not be able to cook prasad for Prabhupada because he didn't have the time. So then, when Prabhupada and all the devotees reached the temple, Krishna Keshav Brahmachari had everything cooked and ready to be served. When the cook saw all the items he had prepared, he was surprised. No, because this person didn't have so much time to cook so many items for Prabhupada. But then this young boy, only 11 or 12 years old, he cooked everything himself. And he made everything ready for Prabhupada and all the devotees. So then when he saw him, he was so surprised. How did you cook so many things? After Prabhupada took that prasad, then this devotee, the cook, he told Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, I did not cook actually. This young boy, he cooked everything. Not me. He cooked. So then Prabhupada, he looked at him and said, really? You cooked? And Prabhupada said, I could not tell the difference. I could not even tell the difference. Did you teach him how to cook? No. Then this sevak said, I didn't teach him. I never taught him to cook. He only helps me in the kitchen. He only cuts some vegetables, he cleans some pots, but I didn't teach him how to cook. So then Prabhupada called him. He said, where did you learn how to cook? He said, by carefully watching him. As I would clean the pots and cut all vegetables, I would watch everything that he was doing, and I learned everything. So then Prabhupada was so happy with this boy, he said that you will be successful in whatever you dedicate your full attention to. Go on like this, and you do bhajan. So then, Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, he would also cook for Prabhupada from time to time. He had this service of cooking for him. And then, and he would lovingly bestow Prabhupada's remnants to whomever would ask for them. Because he had the remnants of Prabhupada, he would also give it to others. He used to say, Prabhupada always ate very little. I noticed whenever I served him his meals, there always seemed to be the same amount left on his plate as I had brought him. He would offer him one full plate of Mahaprasad, like maybe Prabhupada would only take the tulsi leaf from there. Only a little, like this much, not even more. In this way. So here, it says that once, a long story here. In 1956, a year after, in 1956, when Brajamandal Parikrama was going on, Krishna Keshav Brahmachari heard that his father had passed away and that his brother had sent him 50 rupees to serve the Vaishnavas in their father's memory. So his father was a great devotee, he had passed away in 1956, and his elder brother gave him at that time he gave 50 rupees, which was like a huge amount of money. He said with this money he organized a nice feast for all the Vaishnavas. At that time, Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he organized a huge feast and he invited so many devotees. And so many devotees came to that festival. And they all honored Mahaprasad. Normally, eating something served in honor of a non-devotee's passing implicates one in the sins of the departed. In this world, if anyone has passed away, and in that person's name, if you serve other people some food, actually what are you doing? You are distributing that person's sins to those people. That's why devotees are very careful in this regard. No, that's what rich people do sometimes. They've lived very sinful lives, so when their father or grandfather, someone dies, then they invite sadhus and they cook a huge feast, they give them so much money, and in this way they give all the sins of that person to these people. But here you see, Krishna Keshav Prabhu's father was such a great devotee that when he departed, so many people came and they honored Mahaprasad. Because Mahaprabhu, on the occasion of Haridas Thakur's disappearance, Mahaprabhu said, anyone who honors this Mahaprasad in honor of Haridas Thakur, they will all get praying. So Mahaprabhu spoke this in regard to his bhaktas in this way.
That's why in Pinda, when there's Mahaprasad offered to that departed person, it's very important to tell that person, don't take the remnants of your relative, just you distribute them in some, I forget, it's one corner of food, outside somewhere. Because you shouldn't take the remnants of that relative. Because they're not important.
So here Maharaj is saying you shouldn't take the remnants, You should be very careful. So in this way, even Prabhupada's brahmachari and even sannyasi disciples lovingly honored that Mahaprasad, and they recognized that he was such a great devotee, his father, because he had so much nishtha in Prabhupada in this way. So once, when Bhaktivedanta Tirth Maharaj and two of his school friends took shelter of the temple, and they were staying in Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj's temple, once they heard Bhaktivedanta Ban Maharaj speaking Harikatha. And there, Bhaktivedanta Ban Maharaj, he was saying that even though I stayed in the temple, in the dham, I've heard Harikatha so much, I've done Kirtan so much, still I feel I have not gained any benefit in my life, he said. So Bhaktivedanta Ban Maharaj. So this way, when Bhaktivedanta Tirth Maharaj was present there with his two friends, then his two friends became very hopeless. They said, oh, he's been in the temple for so many years now, and he's saying this, then what to speak of us then? So then they ended up leaving them. They said, no, we don't want to stay here. So then Bhaktivedanta Tirth Maharaj, he was more patient. So then he went and he asked Krishna Keshav Brahmachari that why did Maharaj speak in such a way, that in spite of living in the temple for so many years, he has not made any advancement, this, that. So then Krishna Keshav Prabhu said, listen, the more you associate with exalted Vaishnavas, the more you will be able to understand their moods. He is speaking like that out of his humility. No, because if one is humble, he will always say that I don't even have a cent of prem. I don't have any prem. So he is speaking from that viewpoint. Don't think that he doesn't really have any bhakti at all. So this way he convinced him. And then Bhaktivedanta Tirth Maharaj, he was so happy with him, with that explanation, that he continued staying in the temple. And then after that, you see, the rest is history. He became the Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. In this way. So in this way, He guided so many people. So once it is said that once Krishna Keshav Brahmachari and his sannyasi godbrothers were preaching at a university where there were many students and professors. Every time the sannyasi spoke Harikatha, the students would say, "Oh, you're just saying the same things that were expressed before, all these ancient ideas. We have heard these things many times before. We don't want to listen to these same things again and again." So the students in that atheistic university, they're saying, "Why are you saying the same things again and again? Say something new. Oh, why are you saying these old things again and again?" So then, finally, Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, he spoke. So then Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, he looked at all the students. And he said, "Look, I'm not learned as how you are." He said, "I'm not so educated as all of you are." He said, "When I joined the temple, I was only 11 years old. I had only studied until the 7th grade." He said, "Not more than the 7th grade. All of you are like graduates." But he said, "Although when I speak, I may not speak so fluently as all of you, still, please listen to what I have to say," he said. He said, "You yourselves have readily admitted that you have already heard, understood and memorized all the views my godbrothers have discussed. You have asked us many questions in response. But I request you, please ask yourselves this one question. Do you live your life according to these teachings? If the answer is yes, then very well. Otherwise, your knowledge of those teachings will be of no true benefit." No. Krishna Keshav Prabhu is asking all the students that you are saying that you have heard my godbrothers speak this Harikatha so many times. But if you have really heard them speak this Katha, and if you really accepted what they have spoken, even one word of what they have spoken, then are you really living your life according to those teachings that they have given you? Are you living your life that way? If not, then what is the use of you even listening to that Katha in the first place? Because all of you claim you have memorized every word that they have spoken. So if you have really memorized every word that they have spoken, then are you maintaining your lives according to those instructions?" He said. And all of them were clueless. They were not even practicing anything in their own life. Then Krishna Keshav Prabhu said, "Then what is the use of all of you even listening so many times? If you did not even practice even one instruction in your life." Said, So this way all those students, they were very humbled. Then they said, "You have spoken the truth. Despite us having so much knowledge, we don't follow anything of what we have heard."
He also said, it's like you can understand, you go to a doctor because you're ill. You may, and he gives you a prescription. You may be able to understand the prescription very well. But if you don't take the medicine, then you won't get better.
See, Maharaj is not in reading. I'm reading actually, and he's already knows so many things. I'm reading from here, but he's already like saying all these things. So once Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he went to Assam, Guwahati. So there, when he went there he met the chief minister of Assam. His name was Gopinath Bordolai. So then when they introduced themselves as preachers of the Gaudiya Math, then this chief minister of Assam, he said, "Both of you are from my state, Assam. Why are you preaching about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is from Bengal. Rather you must preach about the saints here in Assam." No, like they have Shankar Dev, Damodar Dev and other devotees. He said, "Why are you preaching about him? He's a Bengali. And all of us are Assamese. Why not speak about our saints than speaking about Chaitanya?" No. So then Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he said, "All right. Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Yes." He said, "You are from a Brahmin family, is it not?" He said, "Yes, I'm from a Brahmin family." "You are also Assamese?" He said, "Yes." "Then why did you go to study in England, in Oxford University? What is the need to go there?" He said, "In that country, what do people do? They use a paper to clean themselves after passing stool, instead of following the proper practice of using water. In that country, they're not even using water to clean themselves, they're using paper. But still you're so proud that you have studied in that country, in that Oxford University. But why did you go there? Because that university is so renowned. So if you have so much respect for such a university, then why not have respect for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose teachings are universal, not only restricted to one province or one state? Why not have faith?"
He said Navanui was considered to be the Oxford of spirituality.
Yeah, Navadvip Dham is like the epicenter of learning. So why can't you take shelter of this Oxford? Now you've taken shelter of that Oxford, take shelter of this Oxford also, in this way. So in this way, we just go a little. So Krishna Keshav Prabhu, his sister also, she was also a great devotee. So there was one place called Sara Bhog. There, one person, what had he done? He actually killed one person who had donated land to the Gaudiya Math by striking him on the head with a hammer. So one person in that village, he actually killed the donor of some land. One person had given some land to the Gaudiya Math. So this person, he took one hammer and killed him on the head for some reason, So the people of that village were very angry with the Gaudiya Math. They said, you cannot come and preach here. One of our men gave you land to preach and some person came and killed this person, maybe that person is yours. No. So when the people of the village heard that the Gaudiya Math sannyasis and brahmacharis had come to preach, they objected. We refuse to let them preach here. We will not let them stay in this village. So then Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he said, oh, my sister, she will help. So then Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj, he heard Krishna Keshav Prabhu's advice and he stayed for a few days. And then the person who had instigated all of them, he also took initiation from Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj. And from that day onwards, the Gaudiya Math devotees, they established a temple there. And preaching continued in this way. So here, once Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he was chastising one person whom he had inspired to join the temple. So there was one brahmachari whom Krishna Keshav Prabhu had preached to and he had inspired him to join the temple. So when this person joined the temple, what did he do? Once when he was being chastised by Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he said, if you weren't such an old man, I would have grabbed you and thrown you out of the temple, he said. The same person whom Krishna Keshav Prabhu had preached to, he's such an ungrateful person, He had brought him to the temple, but he said, if you weren't such an old man, I would have thrown you out of this place, he said. So then Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he didn't say anything, he just remained silent. Then he said, just look how people are now. Previously, people would never speak this way. They were indebted to those forever who helped them even slightly. But nowadays, not to speak of even a cent of gratitude, people feel no shame in arguing with and falsely accusing those who have helped them. And then he gives an example. That once a man, he thought there was a turtle egg. And he put that turtle egg inside a pond. Because turtles, what do? They help purify the water in a pond. They eat all those germs and bacteria and everything. So then what happened? He thought it was a turtle egg and he put it inside the pond. But then he saw that instead of a turtle hatching out of that egg, it was a baby crocodile that hatched out of that egg. And the crocodile started terrorizing everyone inside that pond. So he said, all these people who have brought to the temple, who act in such a way, I thought they were like small turtles. They would help preserve the purity of the temple. But rather than preserving the purity of the temple, what are they doing? They're like crocodiles, ready to attack, bite one, he said. So in this way, Krishna Keshav Prabhu, he never even took sannyas. Why? Because he said, if I take sannyas from anyone, then I'll have to accept that person as my Siksha Guru or my sannyas Guru. But since I've only accepted Prabhupada as my Guru, how can I accept anyone else? So therefore, he never even took sannyas his entire life. And then, whenever his god brothers or god sisters would leave this material world, he would carefully store their japamala. Like if any of them were left, he would take this japamala and keep it with them. And if anyone else had lost that japamala, he would give the malas that he had saved to them. Even Prabhuji does this. Sometimes if you don't have a mala, you go to him. Prabhuji would have also saved some malas that our god brothers and god sisters gave to them. I mean, when they leave their bodies, their relatives would have given it to him. And he gives it to others, saying, here, chant. So he would do the same thing also, Krishna Keshav Prabhu. Whenever his god brothers would have left, he would preserve their malas and he would give it to others who would want it. So in this way, even when he was studying books, he never used a reading light at night. Rather, he only read by candlelight. So when he would be reading books in the night, he would use a candle to read. Why? Because he said, I read only to please Bhagavan and his devotees. If my reading light disturbs the devotee of Bhagavan, then of what benefit will my reading be? He's saying, if I put a light on and study in the night and others are sleeping, then how am I actually pleasing them? I'm only reading for the pleasure of the devotees. I don't want to disturb them. So he would just keep a candle and he would read the whole night, although he was so senior in this way. So here we'll just read this last thing. So once one person, he told Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, I have not been chanting my Gayatri mantras for so much time. I have heard that the mantras are not effective if if you don't chant them for 3 days? No. This is actually, many people have this question. They asked Gurudev this question also once. That if you don't chant the Gayatri mantras for 3 days, you have to take reinitiation. And I think Gurudev said, who is that person who's speaking this? I want to twist his ears, he said. Twist his ears, saying if you don't chant for 3 days, then you lose that power of chanting the mantra. It's nothing like that. In fact, some people, they go into hospital for many days and are not able to chant the mantras. No. When you go and take an operation or something. But still, you can always continue from where you left off. No. So still, Krishna Kesha Prabhu, he asked the devotee, do you still remember the mantras your Gurudev has given you? Yes, he said, I remember all the mantras. Then no need to hear the mantras from anywhere else. It is true that you must not neglect the mantras, but still you must beg forgiveness at the lotus feet of your Guru and again start chanting your mantras. Everything will be rectified by his mercy in this way. And then he said, I have heard that I should change my sacred thread before beginning to chant my mantras again. Is this true? So he said, should I change my Brahmin thread? Then he said, if that was the case, then wouldn't ladies who are not given a sacred thread be doomed? He said, if that was the case, then what about women? Women are not given a sacred thread. Then they should also stop chanting them. Don't think like this. All these things are only superficial, he said. Just continue chanting them in this way. So in this way, whenever any devotees would visit him in Puri, whatever little money he would have collected, what would he do? He would arrange Jagannath Mahaprasad for everyone. He would invite all the Pandavas from Jagannath Puri and he would feed everyone prasad. And in this way, he would serve all the devotees. And in the time he was leading up, and when he was just about to disappear, he would utter one verse at the top of his voice. What was that? Labdhva sudurlabam idam bahu sambhavante manushram artadam anityam api hatira turnam yatetana patet anumritya yavan nishresa vishaya kalu sarvatasya. Means, don't waste this rare human form of life. As long as it is alive, continue doing bhajan. So he would always say this in a very loud voice in this way. And he was such a Nishkinchan Vaishnava that when he left his body, what was present in his box? See here what was present in his box. Only 2 sets of clothes. He left a box behind when he left his body, that were his belongings. What was there in that box? Only 2 sets of books, a few books, and only a little amount of money, like a few rupees. And then they were all kept in one small box, the only box he owned. Such a Nishkinchan Vaishnava he was. Nothing he had, only a few rupees, few books, and 2 sets of clothes. And when he left, he gave that box away. So in this way, he never externally accepted the role of an acharya, nor did he give anyone diksha. But still he was an ideal acharya. Although he never made any disciples, although it seemed he had not even accepted sannyas, he was an ideal sannyasi. So in this way, on the day of his disappearance, all the devotees of Jagannath Puri were invited and everyone was distributed Jagannath Mahaprasad. So he's such a great devotee, such a great disciple of Prabhupada. In this way, when you remember these devotees, remembrance of Prabhupada is automatically had. Because their whole life is only Prabhupada. No. Prabhupada's mind, every teaching of theirs is only infused with Prabhupada's teachings. So there's such intimate associates of Prabhupada, Krishna Kesha Brahmachari, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj and all of them. So we're so fortunate that these disciples have graced this planet, blessed us with their association. And even now, by speaking about their glories, we can be reminded of how glorious they are. So we'll stop here and praying to Srila Prabhupada and all his associates that they bless us with Guru Nishtha and that they inspire us. We fall at their feet and ask for their mercy. So we'll stop here. Pujabat Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Krishna Keshav Brahmachari ki jai, Sabarsha Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samay Srila Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Vitai Gaur Pramanande Yati, Ancha Kalpataru Vishya Vipasana Javattanam Bhami Krishna.